I do want to talk for just a moment about a little more in depth about your experience with imagery, because of course our experience with anything in life colors what we think about it and how we use it. So for those of you that shared that you're more like 8s and 9s and all that, sounds like you've had positive experiences with imagery, right? That they didn't repel you and make you go away. So some people use imagery all the time, and others, I'm a PTS, a supervisor with the RED. So I've been observing over the years, many young teachers, and some of them are getting into it. Honestly, when they're young, rarely is it a lot, but I've seen many teachers where it's just like a little spice. If they use 2 images in the entire class, they say they use imagery, and I'll be like, oh, you could dial that up a whole lot actually. And it isn't just for when you're wanting to be super creative. It can be when you're just detailing some dance technique concept, but that's probably based on your experience. So your experience with it is going to color everything, and just sort of that impression as to how much you like it and how much you feel it's effective. And of course, did you have teachers that used imagery much? I think it's becoming a thing that's used more and more. So maybe you had a teacher where you go, nope, I don't remember any imagery. It was always just very, do this, do that, feel that muscle, but there was never feel that muscle like it is none of that extra. And then of course, there's the added thing of just who you are. Not are you just a chatty person? Chances are, if you're a dance teacher, you're fairly verbal. Okay? But how descriptive in your everyday life are you with words? Like, are you used to using imagery when you're even telling your story? So you come home and you say, I'm so tired. Okay. Or you come home and you go, oh, I feel like a wet rag that's been totally wrung out and I'm just a puddle. That's imagery. If you're speaking like that all the time in your everyday life, you probably, that's going to show up in your teaching life and you're going to be upping it. So one of the things that I'd ask you to look at, even later would be, if you want to be really skilled in imagery and use it effectively a lot, use it in your everyday life. I would think that a partner would be more sympathetic to you just putting your feet up if you didn't say you were tired, but you're a puddle on the floor. Like, they'd be like, okay, I hear you. In fact, I really feel you. And then you'd be getting, again, not necessarily more sympathy, but they'd go, no, we really get that you're tired. Go ahead and relax, honey. Okay, so I ask you to bring it out more in everyday life. And while we're thinking, though, about your experience with imagery, have a little thought, and I'll give you just a few seconds even to think. If you've had imagery given to you by a teacher, so think back to your training, that was confusing and ineffective, perhaps even harmful. My guess is, if you're like me, you have. You might not have known it was at the time, however. So that's going to go into some of our helpful or harmful, really quick overview basics.